lot of stuff to be excited about, of course. You know, the old rumor and not the rumor, but the old speculation is, oh, gaming is in a gaming rut. I disagree with that.
Oh, dude, I saw that yesterday and I wanted to comment, but real life got in the way and I kind of forgot about it. I don't know
Yeah,
who said it, but if you want to kind of like talk about it, I don't know what rut they're talking about because
I don't
I
either.
don't have enough time to play all the games that I'm playing.
I
Fallout
swear.
4 has stolen my life. And the thing I love about it is that it brought me back to why I love Bethesda games. I'm just traveling the world and I'm finding stuff and I'm going
Oh
off
yeah.
here. It's just this gaming is so much fun. I don't know. I don't know what rut he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I don't want to name names, I guess, just in case, but to
No,
honor the
we can have a
show.
general conversation. We're not attacking
Okay.
anybody. But I would disagree with that statement 1,000%.
I think it was the guy. What is it? Spawn? Is not Spawn Wave.
Yeah,
The
yeah. I
purple
know.
lettering of
Yeah.
background. I
Spawn
cannot
something or other,
remember.
Spawn
Something
Cast or
Spawn.
something like
Something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I believe it was them that said, and did a poll. I don't know if he was necessarily stating it, but it was a poll he was doing to ask if that was the case. So to be fair to them, just in case, because I can't quite remember it in detail, but I remember a lot of the conversations that came out of it because a lot of people, commented on that in not only in his thread but in general, like separate tweets and stuff like that I saw that I follow. Like for instance, Miles, our brother Miles Dumpierre, he even posted about it and he listed off all these games. He said, how could gaming be in a gaming rut with all these games, right? And he listed all these great games, and I'm like, oh yeah. So then eventually I saw that tweet, I was like, oh, this is why you said that. So yeah, it's a weird thing, but I believe that it tells you a lot about how socially you can be misled to feel a way or made to feel a way
Yep.
based off the negativity of other people that you keep around you. And I think that's what that comes down to. Also, too, maybe you got to broaden your horizons. I think some people will kind of get stuck into I think a lot of times, I'm sure you guys have felt this, you and Jamie, where you're playing something or you want to play something, you're like, I don't really feel like playing anything right now. And sometimes I've learned at least that it's not just because you don't want to play something, it's probably because you want to play something different, but you haven't realized it yet. And stepping outside of your comfort zone of playing the same type of game can actually open up your, not only open up your horizons, but kind of open up your eyes and your mind to a liking and enjoying of the genres and things like that in gaming. I remember doing that with shout out to Game Pass with Mutant Year Zero. I wasn't into those types of games. I wasn't into turn-based, tactical style games like an XCOM style. Mutant Year Zero of all games, this quirky little thing where you play as these mutant duck and the pig, and that game actually got me and caught me. And I was in that what I thought was a rut. It was just that I was so tired of playing the same type of thing. And I was on that and played the hell out of that. And it brought me back into doing what I do and what I love. You know what I mean? So I just think it's weird. But especially considering all of the crazy releases we've had already this year and last year, it's like it's an odd statement to make. That's all I took from it.
No, I'm glad we're having this conversation because there's something to be said. And again, if it's Spawn Wave, I believe, who started the conversation. Listen, they're entitled to their opinion. They got a very big following. A lot of people like their stuff. I don't watch their stuff, but that doesn't mean I dislike them in any way. I want to specifically kind of focus on this because there's something to be said, ladies and gentlemen, about being a spoiled gamer. Now, what I'm saying isn't necessarily what you might think it is. Um, as a gamer, right, who has multiple shows per week, I am inclined to purchase not only every console under the sun so I can talk about it truthfully, but I buy a lot of games because my tastes are across the board. I like shooters, I like RPGs, I like open worlds, I like card games, I like puzzlers. So I buy a lot of games. And that's the key thing here. I buy a lot of games. Whether they're games from yesteryear, right now, Jamie had put out a tweet that there's a certain subset of games that are buy one, get one free on Xbox right now for back compat games. I just bought the 2 older Ghost Recons. They were $20 a piece. I bought one for 20. I got one for free. Definitely go check out that sale. But I love all kinds of games. But I also purchase a lot of stuff. Now, I don't know this for sure, and maybe I'm overstepping, but I kind of want to just maybe give an insight as to maybe why the Spawn Wave guys thought this. They don't really pay for much. They get a lot of games to review. And maybe because they get a lot of games to review, they don't appreciate how many games they're actually out. Now, like I said, I'm buying games every other week, whether it's an indie, whether it's a AAA bomb, or somewhere in the middle. I'm always buying something, and I love it. I have so many games on tap that I buy more games than I actually have controller hands and time in a day to play. I'm right now in the midst of 2 massive games. Fallout 4, I'm replaying. Obviously, the Fallout 4 update is coming this week, and I'm also playing Dragon's Dogma. But I purchased, and I can't not wait to play Tales of Kanzaria. I think that's going to be dope. It looks absolutely amazing. Where's the rut? But Jamie, let's bring you in. First of all, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you here. Appreciate you being a part of the show when you can be here. Where do you kind of feel where this rut is coming from? Because I honestly don't see it. And again, this is not an attack on anybody. This is my personal opinion. They're entitled to theirs. I cannot correlate a rut in gaming right now.
Thanks, Boom, for having us on again. It's I wanted to talk about this, and I didn't think this was actually going to be a topic, so here we go. The gaming rut thing, I just laughed. It's like you have to broaden your horizons. I notice a lot of people that say things like that, they stick to one genre. Like, say if someone particularly covers Nintendo games, you're going to be playing a lot of like 3D platformers and types of stuff, right? And it's going to seem like you're in a bit of a rut. And like Umbra said, there's times when I mainly play role-playing games. So every so often, I mix it up and I play a first-person shooter campaign or a third-person shooter campaign because it's something completely different than an RPG. And I think too many people just stick to one type of game. And you'll notice on YouTube specifically, like once every few months, you'll see a video go viral with like millions of views, and it's always titled like "Gaming is Dying." But if you watch the video, it's always them talking about multiplayer from like the Xbox 360, like Modern Warfare and Halo 3 and stuff. They don't play like the games we all play, like AAA, indie, AA games that release every single month. They just stick to these multiplayer games. And like to say gaming is in a rut right now, like 2023 was one of the best years in gaming. It's going to go alongside 2010 and 2007. And 2024 looks like it's going to be just as good. The year, it's April, but the year is going to get even better as the months go on. And to say gaming is in a rut, it's like you're not playing enough games. And like you said, Boom, like if you're someone that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, your chances are you're getting almost every single game for free. So it's like if you buy a game, you want to play it because you've bought it and you've been looking forward to it. But if you get everything for free, maybe you don't have that same want and need to play those games. Doesn't matter how good those games are or how many you get. And like I've nothing against that Spawn Wave guy, makes good content. But like if you get everything for free or so many different offers, maybe you're not really having the want to play some of these games. And I talk about this a lot on my channel. Like if you notice at the end of the year, you'll see these indie games and these AAA games get awards and like get talked about a lot. AA games never get talked about, which is why I always try and push them and recommend them to people. Like RoboCop Rogue City was one of the best games last year, and it's a AA game.
So good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great game, and it was faithful to the source material, and it was perfect. It was basically the RoboCop 3 we always wanted. And like not a lot of big channels were talking about that, because if you're an 8-bit game that is like, Vampire Survivors, that pretty much captures the market and everyone wants to play it, and then you have these AAA games that everyone wants to talk about and play, but these AA games no one gets talked about. So this gaming rut thing, I think it's just people limiting themselves to one or two genres.
Well, look, I just want to respond to Scott Woodford, who's always here in the chat. Scott, welcome as always. He drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, to be fair, games are not innovative, in my opinion. Spawn Wave pays for most of his games. Now, I don't know. I can't say that he does. And if you do, then you obviously watch him, and that's cool. I didn't make any kind of stake in the ground statement that, hey, listen, boo, he gets things for free. I don't. I don't want anything for free. I get nothing. As much as I'm an Xbox fan, I buy every one of their controllers. I get nothing. I've gotten a couple of games for review, I think it was Gears 5 I did a review for, and Horizon 5 I did a review for. I don't get a lot of stuff. I do get offers for many games to review, but I don't review games. It's not a review site. This is not a review channel. I talk about games through my experience. Whether he gets them for free or not, I'm not going to argue that point. So, Scott, thank you so much for the generosity. What I am going to say, though, is a lot of people in the chat here are talking about potential entitlement kind of an issue with having potentially thousands and thousands of subscribers and the ability to get these games. Because, of course, if you are a publisher, if you are a small indie developer, you want to get your game onto a channel by offering that game as, hey, talk about my game, please. And hopefully they do. And they have all of these thousands of subscribers. I personally cannot understand. When I saw this conversation yesterday, Jamie, I was a little bit taken aback because I'm like, I am playing stuff like right now. If you didn't know, Tales of Kanzara is available on PlayStation Network as part of the service, which is dope. It's one of the few new games that they've gotten this year that is day and date in their service. Please go download that game, play it there if you have the service. On Xbox, obviously, you're going to buy it, which I did, and I'm going to play it there because I prefer Xbox because of the achievements and everything. But just looking down the road in the last couple of weeks, I've purchased so many games that I literally don't have any time to play them. So again, it's an opinion, and no one's attacking anybody. In a Spawn Wave, certainly they're entitled to theirs. I just saw it yesterday, and I could not equate the rut aspect of it. I just think that there's way too many guys now. And now, if they came out and said, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of games that have come out in 2024, I'd second that, because I'm like, he's right, because there are so many freaking games that there's just not enough time. The rut part, I disagree. Any last words, if you would?
It also makes me think too. Sorry, Jamie. I was going to say it makes me wonder too, and I don't know him enough to say, but it makes me wonder in general about not only his view of it, but in general, people have this more pessimistic outlook when it comes to things. So I wonder if he or people like that feel that way are influenced negatively just because they're more pessimistic, or they've been more pessimistic toward gaming. Because often I see people have this really negative view about gaming on like social media, be it Twitter or whatever it is, and they're like, well, they're so down about everything. So I wonder if that plays into it at all. And it's like, yeah, this game just isn't good enough, even though the game is stellar. You know what I mean? I wonder if that plays into it at all. So the whole thought of it being in a rut just doesn't add up, not with what we have. And it goes beyond just something like, oh, it's a shiny, beautiful game. Right. It goes to the reviews of it. The reviews clearly say these games are good or great. Yeah. So it can't be that we've played these games. We know they are. So I wonder if it's just negativity that feeds into more negativity that makes them feel that way and feel like they have to be, as negative as well. I wonder if that colors their perception.
Drake Williams in the chat says something very interesting. So welcome, Drake. Thanks so much for obviously being here and throwing a comment in there. Drake Williams says Spawn Wave is a PlayStation gamer. Maybe that's why he's crying. Now, again, I'm going based on what Drake is saying, and I don't know for sure, but it makes sense, Jamie. And I'll tell you why. PlayStation, regardless of how many consoles they've sold, the highlight for them this year, as we talked about this yesterday, is without a doubt Helldivers 2.
I
Right?
thought you were going to say Foam Stars. I'm like, yeah.
Well, no, it's certainly not Foam Stars. I would keep calling it Soap Stars, so thank you for the correction before I even made the mistake. It is Foam Stars, damn it. And yes, no one is talking about that. But what's interesting is this comment. Now, if Spawn Wave, again, is a PlayStation dude, maybe because PlayStation has not really done a lot for its gamers this year. Now, again, highlight, I just talked about it. Tales of Khansaria is in their service. That is a major get. That is a big game. That game is going to be, just based on what we've seen, I'm telling you, it's going to be in one of those game of the year conversations, whether it's in the top 6 at the Keeleys, because they like throwing an indie game in there. And this is an indie game at its core, and it looks freaking gorgeous, right? Or in the indie section itself. We don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see, but it's in the service. So, yes, if you have that service, go download this game and play it. It looks amazing. But, Jamie, I think Drake might be onto something. Again, I don't know Spawn Wave enough, but it's interesting that he has enough pull in the industry that we're actually having this conversation because, like I said, I 1,000% disagree. I think that gaming was insane last year, and I think it's going to be even crazier this year. But, again, if you're a PlayStation gamer, well, you're not getting much past their third-party deals.
Yeah, I mean, from what I see, I think that Spawn Wave guy, and again, I like some of his content when I get to see it. I always get the impression he comes off as a Nintendo-centric person.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is about Nintendo is that Nintendo, they've had a massive success this generation.
They sure have.
They number one. People like to pretend PlayStation's number one. It's like, no, it's Nintendo. But Nintendo's on like the end of their generation. The games they're coming out with is pretty slow. They had a Princess Peach game recently, I believe. But the rest of the year is pretty dry. Yeah, the rest of the year is pretty dry. We don't really know what's coming. And PlayStation, they having a slow year. They came out with Helldivers, and everything that's coming out this year for PlayStation is basically a third-party exclusive. And you look at Microsoft, like they having a good year. They finally got their eggs together, and they're coming out with multiple first-party titles that look great. But Nintendo and PlayStation, they may be having a huge success with consoles, but first-party wise, it's not really an interesting year. And I think it's lunacy to think that this year we're having a gaming rush. It screams to me people are limiting themselves to what they play because the wide variety of genres coming out at the minute. You have fighting games, horror games, sci-fi games, open world action RPGs, side scrollers, everything across the board. And it's like, we're not in a rush, just people need to open their horizons. And if it could be the Nintendo thing, because again, I can't think of one Nintendo exclusive coming out this year. And I think, like you said, Boom, a lot of people focus on negativity. A big thing to push in gaming is talking about exclusives or lack of exclusives. And some people only talk about exclusives. We see them on Twitter all the time. They never talk about third-party games. They never talk about indie games. They're like, hey, I just discovered this game I've never heard of before. It's like, no, we're just going to talk about exclusives. And so many people I see that, like a bunch of people have replied to me in the past saying, hey, Jamie, there's nothing coming out this year. And I'll list off a bunch of games and they'll be like, oh, none of them are exclusive. It's like, what are you talking about? There's more games than exclusives. There's thousands of games that come out every year, and you're just going to talk about, like, let's be honest, right? We all have these consoles. Doesn't matter if it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. We all play in pretty much the same games every year. It's just a few different games are different. And too many people get hung up on the whole exclusive thing, and I think that's where the whole rut thing's coming from.